You're listening to Vancouver Co-op Radio, CFRO 100.5 FM. We're coming to you from the unceded traditional territories of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh nations around Vancouver, BC. I'm your host, Bernadine Fox, and this is the show that dares to change how we think about mental health. Welcome to ReThreading Madness.
When I've never been further from knowing what the hell I'm gonna do. When I can't seem to find my way under or over or through.
Today we get to chat with Giihlgiigaa, who is a Haida Cedar Weaver and storyteller who learned under the late Woody Morrison. Then we chat with Kristin Cheung and Rocky Riobo about the upcoming Outsider Arts Festival happening here in Vancouver, BC, and it opens on Thursday, October 12th, just a couple days from now, down at the Roundhouse Community Centre. They will chat about some of the things that are available for anyone who wants to step into that world of art, whether it's seeing what artists have produced, how they perform, and learn from workshops. All of it is free. Kristin Cheung has a Master's in Arts Administration and is the current Executive Director at the Community Arts Council of Vancouver, who put on the Outsider Arts Festival. She has more than a decade's worth of experience working in the arts and has a love for underrepresented communities, giving her time and expertise to a number of causes in Vancouver and Edmonton. She co-founded the Future Is You and Me, a free community mentorship program for young women of color in the arts, and is on the board of Centre A and The Room magazine. Rocky Riobo is an interesting character. It is said that she is bold, controlled, and born for the stage. And when you listen to her, I'm pretty sure you won't doubt that. She and her gems evoke the American music tradition of vintage jazz with a rich, golden age nostalgia paired with her own funny girl bite. We apologize for the echoey sound in some parts of the Outsider Arts piece. When we are recording from our homes, we don't always get to control the sound, and this is one of those situations.
Tanuyap, Giihlgiigaa Iwans Queensna. Hi everybody, my name is Giihlgiigaa Iwans. I'm a member of the Squamish Nation and the Yagalanis clan of the Haida Nation. You're listening to Co-op Radio, CFRO 100.5 FM. We live, work, play, and broadcast from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations.
You're listening to ReThreading Madness on Vancouver Co-op Radio, CFRO 100.5 FM. I'm Bernadine Fox, and right now I have the pleasure of speaking with Kristin Cheung and Rocky Riobo. Now, I just asked her how to say her last name. And did I do it right, Rocky?
Riobo.
Riobo. I'm so sorry. Yeah, names are not my forte, ever, just ever. So, Kristin, tell us a little bit about the Outsider Arts Festival. What I know, let me just tell you what I know, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. It's been around for several years. I don't know how many, you can tell us, but that it offers an opportunity for visual and performing artists that face various barriers and around opportunities to exhibit and consequently sell their work, an opportunity to do so. So when did the Outsider Arts Festival start? And it's actually called the Vancouver Outsider Arts Festival, right? Mm-hmm. So when did we start?
Yeah, so it started in 2017 at the Roundhouse, which it's still hosted at the Roundhouse, and it is the 7th annual Vancouver Outsider Arts Festival.
In terms of describing it, is there anything that you would add to that?
Yeah, so I would say that the Vancouver Outsider Arts Festival is to exhibit and showcase the work of outsider artists, so those who work outside the margins is what I'd like to say. So this is quite a broad range of like how we define outsider artists. So they could be artists who are marginalized, artists with disabilities, artists with language barriers, socioeconomic barriers, self-trained artists, folks in the downtown east side, or everything in between. And it's also the first and only Outsider Arts Festival in the country, in Canada.
And it mentions on the website that you're represented by significant fairs and museums globally. What does that mean?
Yeah, so there's like quite a large, so outsider arts um, started in France. I mean, the art speak version of like of outsider arts comes from artists who have been in psychiatric care or like mental institutions is what historically folks were from. And so um, that's the history of it. So our definition is a bit broader, but there's outsider arts fair in Paris, France, and in New York as well. And there's outsider arts museums and galleries, which are very commercial based. And so selling work for like high profits and kind of in this kind of contemporary art white cube way, which, you know, there's a place for that as well. But for us, we try to be very low barrier, very inclusive, very open and broad and supportive of artists in Vancouver um, who self-identify as an outsider
Right.
artist.
And I do know in terms of mad artists that the barriers they face often come with the stigma and the perceived ideas of what people have around what is mental health challenges and what does that mean and what does that look like, and sometimes their fear of working with somebody who may be schizophrenia or have psychosis prevents them from actually including people. So I'm really glad you guys are out there and doing this work. Rocky, welcome. So tell us about music. What does music mean to you?
Oh, I love music. I love music. Music is therapy. Music
Mhm.
is a purpose. Music is a universal language, which is
Yes.
super important, and wonderful. Music has always been my life, so much so that it was never really a question, which is something I was always super into and interested in. And in my later life, it's such a source of therapy and an outlet and a means of community and expressing myself and learning how others express themselves.
Right.
um, it's everything to me. It's so wonderful. I love music, and it's education. I love education as well.
So you're saying music is education?
Yes, it is. It's either, I mean, it's I think it's everybody's education, because it can be very mathematical and systematic and on a piece of paper, which is how some people learn, or
Right.
it can be absolutely metaphysical and almost pretend and make believe and just intangible. So it's so beautiful in that universal it's universal to all learners. You can learn just by listening to records, or you can learn by, hitting the books, and I think that's really wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And it can teach you about yourself emotionally. It's not just about, oh, I can read chord symbols, or I can play with a band. I find a lot of people learn about themselves emotionally. What
Yeah.
makes me cry? What makes me happy? What turns my day around, kind of thing. So it's just so wonderful.
Music is also one of those things that takes us back. So for
Yes.
me, I don't know how old you guys are, but I am of the age now that the 1970s was the music of my era. And so when I hear a song that is from the 70s and it's not jazz, sorry, I wasn't listening to jazz back then, but it does take me back and it reminds me of being in my youth and all my dreams and my hopes and my aspirations and where I thought I was going. And I can compare that to, well, where are you? Did you go there? Did you go somewhere else? And is that, I mean, so it really, music has a way of reaching into us and pulling out all kinds of stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And you play jazz.
I do.
So let me ask you, when you've decided to play jazz, and I'm talking about this like as an artist,
Hmm.
there was a time when I was painting all kinds of things, and I started painting still lifes, and I used
Mm.
to leave the studio astounded that I had just painted a pear. Like, really, who?
Yeah.
I'm so serious about so many things, and I would leave just shaking my head, wondering why am I painting all this fruit? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so it wasn't a choice. It was something that happened, and it actually was really good for me that it happened, and I followed it. But how did you come to jazz? Did it did it choose you? Did you choose it? Did it?
I think I think I've always been a jazz cat. I've always been a jazz cat. I was a little girl sleeping in my bed, tapping my toe to Frank Sinatra
Mm.
unconsciously. Frank Sinatra, Harry Connick Jr. I have a very jazzy Aretha Franklin record. And I always loved that. I think when I was maybe 7 years old, I was singing It's Only a Paper Moon, which is a classic jazz standard, in like a sequenced dress in this like auditorium.
Right.
So it just was always glamorous and so wonderful. I left it for a little bit. I liked musical theater and I liked Avril Lavigne and Kelly Clarkson and Britney Spears and all that. But then when it came out of high school, I was in the jazz band. I played trombone. I was singing jazz standards in like vocal jazz choirs.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came to university, it was okay, do I do music or do I go into creative writing, which I also adore? And I figured if I've come this far, I've taken private music lessons since I was 5 or 6 years old. So
Right.
I might as well continue this education. I wasn't super interested in classical music, so then it came down to just with the resources and opportunities that I had available to me in the province. It was either jazz or musical theater.
Right.
And I think my heart, my happy little bouncing heart loves musical theater and it's so wonderful. But I felt because there's so many areas, there's dancing and singing and acting, I felt it would have been a little bit more like training, whereas
Mm-hmm.
jazz would have been an education,
Mm.
a little bit more streamlined than doing a bunch of different things. So
Right.
I liked the idea of getting an education. So then I went into jazz, and oh my goodness, I was a fish out of water. I was a fish in the dry desert, melting in the sun.
Oh no.
And it was so hard. It was so difficult. I was like probably one of the worst mental times of my life, just due
Oh
to some
no.
travesties. So that took a huge toll on it. But being in a new town, doing something that I wasn't immediately good at, was very difficult for me. And it was a crazy time. In retrospect, what a stunning education! What an absolutely stunning education! I went to Capilano University, and I
Right.
did the jazz diploma for voice.
Right.
Um, and now that I've cleared the fog, the brain fog of travesty, um, I use every ounce of my education, every ounce. Even when I'm talking to my students, trying to explain something,
Mm-hmm.
I will have my own light bulb go off and be like, "Oh my gosh, I finally understand." And they're like,
Yes.
"That's great, you're my teacher." I'm like, "Yeah, but like we're learning together."
Wow. Wow, that's very
Um,
cool, Rocky. We're
Thank
going to
you.
play a
Yeah.
song of yours in here. Can you tell us about
Yes.
that song?
Oh my goodness me. So Mr. Kelly Brown. Mr. Kelly Brown is my right-hand man. We've been playing together for years now. We both teach at Horizon School of Music
Hmm.
here in Vancouver. And at that when I met him, I was at the part of my career where I wanted to play with other people, but I didn't want to go look for a band. I wanted to be so good that people wanted to play with me.
Hmm.
So I hit the books, colloquially speaking. I hit the piano, and did all this, and then we were passing each other by and talking about jazz, and we should jam together sometime. So excited. Years go by, we've been jamming all the time. He plays guitar, and it can just be the two of us, or it can be five or six of us, or whatever. And then I think it was this year, perhaps. It was this year we were sitting and jamming, and he said he had some tunes. So he had charts where he had the chords and the melody, and he would play them for me, and I recorded them, and I took them home, and I got in my zone, and I wrote the words. And it was so easy. It was so easy because it didn't feel like I was writing words to his song. It felt like I was just translating his melodies into
Mm.
English.
Wow.
And it just knowing him and hearing some of the stories about when and why he wrote these songs,
Hmm.
it just made it so clear to me. So this song is called Those Eyes. And it was I think there was somebody across the room and eyes that will always just sort of peek out of a crowd. And so I came home and I wrote this really sweet little uh, these words, those eyes, so
Wow.
yeah, without further ado, it's just Kelly Brown on guitar and myself, Rocky Riobo, on voice. So it's intimate, it's groovy, it's wonderful, and I really hope that everybody enjoys it.
I'm sure they will.
Mm.
Kristin, so how many artists are there this year?
At the Vancouver Outside Arts Festival, there are 40 visual artists and about 13 performing artists and three art groups, which are art groups are kind of nonprofit organizations and kind of social service areas that are representing and bringing artists that they work with. So about 56 or so, 56, 60. Yeah.
You said 60 in total?
Oh gosh, we say 56, but then there's probably there's 13 more within your arts collective.
Right.
So yeah, over 60 artists.
And there are workshops as well, right? So
yes.
So there's art that people can see on the walls, there's performing arts that people can come to, and there's workshops that people can attend and learn things. What kind of workshops are happening?
There's different types of workshops. So there's an ikebana workshop, which is Japanese flower arranging. There's a workshop for felted tiles. So those are kind of like art making. So people can leave with like a piece of art. And Kafka movement workshop, which is a South Asian classical dance workshop, and a collaborative character design session workshop. And there's also a film screening on the Monday with our partners at the Outside Arts Festival in Helsinki, Finland. So we're showing 4 of their short films on the Monday, October 16th at the Roundhouse as well. So developing a partnership with similar organizations across the pond.
Right. So let's talk about when's the Outside Arts Festival here in 2023. What are the dates?
Yeah, it's October 12th to 17. The hours are 12 noon till 8 p.m. But the last day, which is October 17th, it's just 12 to 5.
And how much does it cost to attend?
It's free. Everything is free, even those workshops and the film screenings and performances. The only thing that's paid is the visual art that is for sale. So there's like art for sale by the artists, the 40 visual artists, but then there's an art sales area. So artists can also sell like postcards and stickers and merchandise. So there's things for sale as well, but it's free to attend.
So people can walk in free. They can look at all the art for free. They can go to all the performing arts for free and the workshops for free. And they only have to spend money if they want to buy something from one of the artists. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So we try to make it as low barrier and inclusive as possible.
I think that's what you've done. Yeah. And where is it? Where's it happening this year?
It's all happening at the Roundhouse Community Center downtown.
So Roundhouse Community Center, October 12th to 17th, 12th to 8th, except for the 17th when it stops at 5 p.m. in the evening. And 8 p.m., that is inclusive of all the performing arts that's happening as well?
Yeah, we've shifted everything to kind of late afternoon, evening performances. This year, we've shifted a few things from previous years. So hopefully that'll be really fun for folks.
So what are you really excited about this year, Kristin?
Oh gosh, yeah, I'm excited to see performances by Rocky. I think that'll be really fun. I think there's such a diverse range of performers and visual artists. Like we have Maka, who's doing a one-woman play. We have some puppet performances by Jerry and Leaf. We have just a mix. And the opening night is Thursday, October 12th, and there's performances by Edziu and Bukola, who we've worked with in the past. They're like BIPOC performers and musicians that are really awesome, that are my personal favorites. And there's this short film screening with our partners in Finland. So we're showcasing films from them. So hopefully we can build a connection between their festival and our festival, and hopefully we can bring artists to their festival and vice versa. So yeah, trying to build partners beyond Vancouver.
And you have an opening reception happening as well? Yes,
so that's October 12th at the Roundhouse, and that's also free, and there'll be free food and pizza for everyone. So that happens, I believe doors open at 5:30, and there'll be speeches, and it'll be hosted by Savannah Erasmus and performances by Bukola and Edziu as well.
I run into so many people who hear about an opening art exhibit and they think, oh, I can't go. I wasn't invited. But actually, art openings are usually open to anybody that wants to show up. So I just want to put that out there and plug it for people. If you want to go to an art opening, go. They are open to the public. And as this is for the Outsider Arts Festival, will the artists be there during the opening as well? If you wanted to meet somebody?
Yeah, we hope that most of the artists can come. It's a celebration of the artists, really. We try to make it as inclusive and free as possible. So it's free to attend. The kind of formal speeches are at the beginning with performances in the theater. And then we come out for free pizza from Rich Twiz Pie, which is gluten-free, vegan, dairy-free
Yay. Wow.
pizza. Yeah.
That's amazing. That is amazing. So I'm just going to also plug for next year, because we know there will be an Outsider Arts Festival next year. When is your deadline for submitting for next year?
It's usually open in April and it's about 6 weeks. So maybe mid-May is usually the deadline.
How would somebody get on your mailing list to make sure they know when the call for submission goes out for next year?
Yeah, we have two websites. One for CACV, Community Arts Council Vancouver. We present the festival, so that's cacv.ca, and then the festival website is voaf.ca. So we'll have a mailing list there, and we send newsletters every month, once a month. So not that many, but yeah.
All right, that's great.
And social media, of course.
Rocky, when are you playing at the festival?
I will be playing Friday the 13th, which is very spooky. Friday, October 13th. Mm-hmm. My showcase starts at 6:30.
6:30 p.m. I will be at the Roundhouse on Friday the 13th at 6 p.m., but I'll actually be teaching.
Okay. Oh, what are you teaching?
I teach drawing at the Roundhouse. I've been teaching drawing for a long time, decades. And I teach drawing because it is the one art form that requires the least amount of supplies. I don't know anybody who's an artist out there knows that when you want to learn how to do some other form or use some other medium, you end up doing this cash outlay of hundreds of dollars for the canvas, the paint, the brushes, the things that we use to mix things, and then if you don't like it, you just outlay a lot of money. So I actually teach drawing because it is the foundation of all art forms, and I can put a class together with people buying a sketchbook and 4 pencils, and then provide them a lot of tools that can help them paint or sculpt or do graphic novels or whatever they want to do. These tools will enhance all of those things. And so I've been teaching it for a long time. I've whittled it down to, very precise drawing techniques and tools to help people. And I've been teaching at the Roundhouse now for many, many years. I will tell people to show up to class a little bit early and take in the Outsider Arts Festival before class. Yeah, so unfortunately, I won't hear you, but I do get to hear your song. So that I'm happy about.
Yes.
So thank you, guys. Is there anything else I've missed that people need to know about the Outsider Arts Festival this year?
I think we're good. Yeah, I think that explained kind of the history and the performances and what's happening and all that, when, where.
And they can get more information on the website?
Yes, voaf.ca. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's great. Thank you, guys. I can't wait to come down and check it out. I hope to be able to make it for the opening reception and say hi to a bunch of folks I know. So, okay.
Just one look in your eyes and I'm hypnotized. Baby, tell me no lies. If it's me that you want, my heart you must haunt for the rest of our lives. When you're sad, they glow blue. When you're mean, they go green. But I'm telling you, I'll keep those tired eyes dry under the night sky when I'm holding you. I'll be kissing you all night and day. Please look my way. Those eyes, they've seen the whole world, every type of girl, every moonlit pearl. But if you ask me, there's nothing to eyes. They've seen the whole world, every type of girl, every moonlit pearl. But if you ask me, there's nothing as sweet as the woozles.
Young workers face many challenges today. Unaffordable housing, underpaid and precarious work, and a rapidly changing labor environment. New and young workers are also more likely to be injured on the job. One of the best protections you have as a worker is solidarity. In other words, a strong union. Throughout history, unions have fought for the right to collective bargaining, better wages, benefits and working conditions, protection from abuse by employers, and ending harassment and discrimination at work. For more information on how to join a union, visit bcfed.ca/join.
You're listening to ReThreading Madness on Vancouver Co-op Radio, CFRO 100.5 FM. I'm Bernadine Fox, and today I'm speaking with Giihlgiigaa, a Haida Cedar bark weaver, who's here to tell us a story about masks. So welcome.
Thank you, Bernadine, for inviting me.
No, I'm really
Giihlgiigaa.
excited. Giihlgiigaa. Did I say it wrong?
Well, you said it was an accent.
Oh, well, I do. Yeah, that's authentic, wouldn't it? Yes. My Canadian accent. So you have a story that was given to you by your uncle. And so I'm hoping that you will tell us that story. It has to do with masks. So I'm just going to hand the mic over to you and let you go for it.
Well, back in 2010, when I first came to Vancouver, I was looking for a Haida knowledge keeper, someone that would help me educate me on the Haida and their values. And I ran into Woody Morrison, and he was Haida from Alaska, living here in Vancouver. And I became a really, really close friend of his, and asked him if he could teach me every Friday anything about Haida language, Haida culture, Haida history, all that kind of stuff. And I asked him, "What did you learn all this from? What are you doing here in Vancouver?" And he says, "Well, that's a long story, but I learned from he learned from his old men, his circle of old men, his dad and some others, and his father and this group of men said that Woody, he would be the one who will get behind the mask and give substance to the shadows." And so, I was trying to figure out, what does that mean, get behind the mask and give substance to the shadows? What's a mask? So first thing that comes to mind are those carved masks from the Northwest Coast. The Haidas made really good masks.
Right. And not all First Nations make masks. Am I right about that?
I'm not sure about that, but all the ones I know do.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I can't really speak for them all. I can speak for the Haidas. Yeah, we do.
Okay. So what did you learn about masks from, it was your Uncle Woody?
Well, what he taught me first, was the mask, which we say in Haida is ni jung. That's how you say it in Haida, what a mask is, a ni jung. Niijaang. So the ng is like a n, and you got the ni ja.
Ni
Because if
jang.
you have ni jung,
Ni jang.
that's a mask. So usually these ceremonial objects are carved from cedar, from alder. They represent animals, fish, supernatural beings, and they're sometimes even painted with spiritual designs and inlaid with, abalone shells and other nice, things. Put on cedar bark for hair. And what's interesting, as Woody was all about concepts. So our language is all about concepts. So when we say Ning Jiao, that name is nearly the same as the word for copy in Haida. When we make a copy, it's Ni Jiang. And Jung, sorry, Jung.
Hmm.
It's like a U instead of an A. Jung instead of Jung.
Right.
So when one puts on this mask, he continued on to say, is that you become the mask. You're not just pretending to be a Spider-Man, not the Spider-Man. You are
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man, he
Mm-hmm.
says. When you have the mask on, you are. And I was going like, how can that be? You know, I'm pretending and no one knows I'm not Spider-Man. You can see it's a mask.
Right.
So he just kept on going, right? But what's really interesting about these masks is that it always left an impression on the people, on the minds of the people. See, like cartoons, you know, cartoons always leaves an impression on your mind. But, oh, okay. That's interesting. So, when you're walking around on the land, every land has its own language, and you describe the land with that language, and vice versa. The land has its own language, so it has its own archetypes in your dreams. So, like in Haida Cedar, we don't really have any snakes, so we use a giant water eel as a supernatural snake. We don't have any wolves, but we do have a sea wolf. That sometimes it was hard to tell if it was part killer whale or part wolf.
Wow.
But now we know with the nature of things and all these scientific or whatever you want to call them, natural histories, we see that there is a wolf that looks swimming, I think, straight every now and then, and feeding off dead carcasses, you know, whales and stuff that wash up. So the sea wolf is, you know, another supernatural creature that, you know, we believed in and didn't know how to really pin on it, what it was, because it was always in the water when we got to it.
Wow.
You know, is it part killer whale? Yeah. And so there's a lot of
So can I just ask you then, is this a real wolf that was swimming and was considered supernatural because you guys didn't have wolves, or is this?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
All right. I got it. Great.
Because we could never find them on the island, only on the beach, swimming in the water, you know.
Wow.
Swimming away.
Wow. Okay.
Or is it a whale? You know, does it have fins? We couldn't tell.
Right. So what you're saying then is that when you put on the mask, it isn't about pretend. It's not a costume. It is about assuming the animal or the spirit or the personification of whatever that mask is. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, like today we got Catwoman, we got Batman, we got...
Right, we do. We have a lot of masks out there in the world. We have the masks that we put on for Halloween, and we have the masks that we put on when we go out the door because we need to have a mask that day. But
oh yeah, so a while after he died, I realized, oh yeah, that Halloween mask, that persona that we call, hey, that's me, you know, I'm an alcoholic. No, I'm not. I am a smoker. Yeah, I am. But I'm more than a smoker. I'm actually way more than that. But people kind of they set themselves up. I'm a carpenter. I'm a doctor. And then they, you know, they're socially inept because that's all they know how to act.
Right.
That part. You got people who are religious. You know, I'm a Buddhist. I'm a Catholic. You know,
right.
But they won't show you their true self ever.
Right.
No. It's all God. Right. That's the mask they put on.
Right. Exactly.
So, you know, every time we meet these, what the prophecies kind of said, these people will come with sweet sounding words. They put on a mask every time when they meet us, and they look like the tall cedar with twin tops and have good sounding words, you know, but when you sound them, they're hollow. So, and so when you take that chainsaw nowadays and drill a hole down in the middle and pull it out, you got this putrid water coming out that stinks.
Wow. Yes.
So we call those people stinkheart.
Oh, stinkhearts.
They're not sweethearts, they're stinkhearts.
They're stinkhearts.
But they have really sweet words.
Really sweet,
really con, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Stinkhearts.
Yeah. Now, part of this story has to do with mirrors.
Yeah, well, see, I was still trying to figure out how do you become the mask? You know, I didn't get it. I still didn't get it. Even Bo Dick, when he was alive, he tried to get me to dance at mask. And everyone said I was the mask, but I didn't feel like it, you know? Am I just going through the motions, you know, what's going on? Well, in Haida, the word for mirror, spirit, is hunts. And it's also the same word we use for a reflection in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see me, you're looking in the mirror here. I'm looking at myself in the mirror, talking to myself.
Right.
And you see me talking to myself in the mirror. This is a two-way mirror.
Yes. Zoom's version of the two-way mirror. Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. So I'm looking at my spirit. So do you see the same thing I see?
Mm-mm.
You know, do you
No.
see someone that's confident, that's charming, that's cool, collected, and
Smart
confident?
and talented and knows how to make things out of cedar like lickety split. Absolutely.
So I never saw myself that way for the longest time,
Mm.
you know, and but another way, when I put that Spider-Man mask on,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I see myself in the mirror then with my eyes, and I hear my voice coming out of that mask.
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing work like that for about 30 minutes, talking to myself, but changing my face.
So were you wearing a mask or were you unmasked talking in a mirror for 30 minutes to yourself?
I would talk with the mirror for 30 minutes with
Right.
the mask on.
With the mask. Okay.
And I'm a really a vivid dreamer. I dream every night.
Wow.
And well, I sometimes put it at bay because I'm just too busy getting day-to-day life figured out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I get my grants planned and I can't dream all the time. So I've been smoking cannabis to reduce REM, the duration and strength of REM.
Mm.
But when I quit it, overloaded with dreams.
Wow.
And when I put the Spider-Man mask on now in the mirror, after about 10 days, I already started seeing myself with the Spider-Man mask in my dreams.
Wow. You're kidding.
And then,
The
no, I'm not.
mask entered your dreams.
I'm wearing it now. I am Spider-Man in my dreams.
Wow.
I thought that was the coolest. Okay, let's switch masks. So I put on a mask one of my friends, really, really good friends, gave me. She drew it. The double-headed serpent, headed serpent. I don't never pronounce it correct because it's not. It's a clock design of the double-headed serpent,
right,
with the two wolves and the two heads together.
Wow.
She made a mask for me, and so I started wearing with that. And then, what do you know? I become the snake in my dreams.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so you can try that with any Halloween mask, and you'll become the mask in your dreams. You can shapeshift. It is so cool.
That does sound cool.
And when you learn how to do that with the masks for 30 days, for 30 minutes a day, you become the mask. You really do. It's fantastic, actually.
And what is the benefit of becoming the mask for you?
Well, see, I learned how to use the mask. I didn't know, Woody didn't actually teach me how to use the mask. It wasn't until 2020 when I took an online workshop through Zoom from a guy in Mexico. He's a sorcerer. He calls himself Sergio Magana. And he was given the ancient teachings that was passed down through, hundreds of lineages it's over 3,000 years old. And I started listening really carefully. This is, and he's starting to talk like Woody. And he says, well, if we want to become the director in our dreams, we've got to learn how to become lucid. And the easiest way to do that is to start using the mask and become the mask. And so he gave us these exercises. And then, wow, I'm transforming my dreams now. So I'm doing what I want to want instead of getting all these random dreams that is probably, that last TV show I watched or the news or some guy trying to preach God on the corner of the street. It's like, I don't need to dream about that. Thank you. Otherwise, that's going to manifest in my life. So I tend to erase all those dreams that are not helpful to me and what my goals are.
So what have your dreams become?
Well, they've become real.
Mm-hmm.
It's like self-fulfilling prophecies. I put it out there that I live with intent. I need this in my life. More people, like when you called and said, "Hey, do you want to do a podcast that reaches the world?"
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a week or so before that. I said, "Okay," to my cousin. She says, "You're doing all these great things on Facebook. You should put it in a podcast." I said, "Yeah, but who do I talk to?" She says, "You know how?" She's like, "Well, I'm not going to start picking up the phone and
No.
searching Google for who, what." And so I said, "I'm going to just dream about this. And I'm going to put it out there with Spider. Spider, connect me to all these people that do podcasts and are wanting to hear more about what I'm talking about, what he's teaching."
Right.
What do you messaged me a messenger that same week saying, "Hey, you want to do podcasts?" And I'm going
that
God
happens to me
Spider.
a lot. Like all being given those kinds of gifts, but also connecting with people in that kind of way. It's a really freaky thing that happens, but I love it every time it does. So
It's not freaky. Raven gave us that gift. It's kind of like everyone has a picture of home in their mind. So every choice they make will bring them closer to home. It's the same when you lose something. You lose your pencil. Remember what it looks like. Okay. Just keep that image in your mind here. Right. And there it is, because you see it. And your mind, your body's going to make all the choices for you to get it. So you should never lose your keys or your phone, or glasses, because you got a clear picture of what it looks like in your brain. If you always find it, just use your intuition to guide you to say, hot, cold, hot, cold. There it is.
Ah, wow. Now you talk about lucid dreaming and entering your dream.
Yes.
Why is that important?
Well, it gives substance to the shadows.
When
we fall asleep, you think it's total darkness, right? You don't see anything, and you wake up in the morning. Some people don't have any recall of their dreams, even though everyone dreams. It's just complete darkness. The mirror, when there are no lights on, it's just black. All our phones are black before you turn them on. Computer screens are black. TV screens are black. Everything's black. And you go into a cave, it's black.
Right.
Well, for us, the darkness, the mirror, is our source of enlightenment, our source of, wisdom.
I want to ask how so. How is the darkness or the blackness? I think it's blackness, not darkness. You're talking about
darkness.
It is a source of. How is that a source of your enlightenment?
Well, it's also a source of comfort because from the old days, so just a little one there. 80,000 years ago, there's a great catastrophe, and we have a story when Raven brought back the light.
Right.
But it was dark, and the giant meteors couldn't get us because they couldn't see us anymore. So we found safety in the darkness.
Right.
And then in the darkness or the blackness, when you practice, you can actually generate your own light in the cave. So we always find comfort in the darkness, whereas a lot of people in this colonized world are fearful of the darkness. They're scared of monster under the bed or something in the closet, just always scared of the darkness.
Right.
Well, we find comfort in it because we know those monsters and things in the closet are probably just our own personal demons that are manifesting shadows. So
You also mentioned in this story your nose had a very big importance in whether you could see your nose or not see your nose.
well, some of my dreams are so lucid, I don't know if I actually was I awake or am I sleeping?
Mm.
It feels so real. uh and I've told people dreams, and I thought, and they were in it, and I would go, remember that day when we did this? And they're going, no. So then I go, oh. So I go recall the dream, and I realize it was a dream, and I go, sorry, I couldn't see my nose. Now I remember, right?
Oh, so if you cannot see your nose,
You know
you're
your
lucid
dream.
dreaming.
Yeah.
And in doing the lucid dreaming and practicing this thing with the masks, what has it given you? What did you gain?
Well, uh, the aha moment, because everyone's searching for enlightenment,
Mm-hmm.
and wisdom and all that, and knowledge, and I was looking for higher values,
Right.
and when Woody started teaching me in 2010, he said, "I'm going to give you the greatest Haida gift, the greatest gift. You're going to inherit this from me." And go, well, what is it? And he passed on. So I grabbed my mirror, my little pocket mirror, kind of like this, a little pocket mirror.
Right.
It's black. And I said, okay. So I called on Woody. Say, "Kate, come on. I need to talk to you." He's see, and then he shows up in the mirror.
Oh, interesting. And this is Woody Morrison. Am I getting that right? Am I remembering his name right? Oh, okay. All right, good.
Yeah,
he was a well-known figure in Vancouver as well. Lots and lots of people knew him. So, yeah.
He was a Haida historian, storyteller, and he was invited to many events to do many talks about reestablishing the correct way of living and putting the Indian back in the child. But all his teachings, I found, were kind of hidden in his stories. Right. So you couldn't find it all packed into one little, how I'm portraying it. I'm just taking a little piece from this story that mentions that, a little piece from this story, putting it all together. Because it wasn't until 2018 that Justin Trudeau removed the Witchcraft Act.
He removed the what?
The Witchcraft Law.
The Witchcraft Law?
Yeah.
I didn't even know about this. I didn't know there was a law, and he removed it.
Well, the law originated in Europe in 1753. And there's horror stories about how the burning times, when any woman that knew anything about herbology, knew anything about water and the teachings of water, looking to the future, who knew how to read tarot, they're all called witches, and they were burned at the stake. Right. Millions of women were burned at the stake. It's
terrible.
And they took that law with them here to Canada. And they found out that us savages were practicing magic. We didn't have
and you mean savages in quotes, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
And so we didn't have a religion. We were heathen,
Yeah.
Because we practiced
according
magic.
to them. Yes.
Yeah. And I said, no.
And only because they were not very smart. They didn't know what they were looking at. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
They didn't know they were looking at something beyond gold. That's why we hid it. Yes. He said, you think gold is treasure? We think seeing the future is more valuable than gold.
Absolutely. It is. Still is.
And so when I look to the mirror now, the blackness, I can see the future. Because Woody is in the future. He always called that the village back there behind us. Because in Haida, the future is behind us and the past is in front of us. Wow. So this pencil someone made in the past, but I can use it now and in the future.
Right.
And see what I just did with it. Right. If I just wrote on a piece of paper and the past is behind me, I wouldn't be able to see what I just did.
Right. Exactly.
So it's just the opposite of English. English is the future is in front of me. right? Even the Chinese have a different view of time. The past is up and the future is down.
Right.
So whose view of time is correct?
Yeah.
We got 3 different ways, and in science, we've been reading that the English-French way is the only way to view time. The future is in front of you and the past is behind you, which we think is totally absurd as First Nations, Indigenous people around the world see it that way. Yeah.
Fascinating. Well, Giihlgiigaa, I am looking forward to more stories. I'm glad that you are going to come back and tell us more about the Haida stories that you know and you learned from Uncle Woody and the things you've learned on your own, because it does sound like since Uncle Woody has passed that you have learned more things as well.
Yeah, Woody said if it's like we share a lot in common with the Mexicas, the ancient Aztecs, because I'm of the Giihlgiigaa clan, and from the Giihlgiigaa clan, we follow the hummingbird home from Mexico.
Wow.
But then I go look into the hummingbird, and we find that the hummingbird, when it goes north on its northern migration for the summer up here, it follows along the Rocky Mountains. It doesn't go along the shoreline. So how did we follow hummingbirds along the mountaintops in our canoes? You know, that doesn't make sense. So we had to dream of hummingbird, and hummingbird gave us a pattern that we got to do, follow the ocean currents to get home.
Wow.
And the Mexicans, they too found home. Their flag is representative of that. The chief at the time, they were escaping all those Olmecs and the other, Mayans and the Incas. They're just like, they were being really irritating, so they had to escape. And the leader goes, okay, I'm going to go do a dream on this. And he dreams of hummingbird, and hummingbird tells him, well, you got to go north until you see a cactus with an eagle perched on top devouring a snake. And they traveled for a couple of weeks, and they're going, oh, come on, are you sure? And this dream is true, because we've been gone for a couple of weeks and, getting kind of tired, running out of food. And the leader says, look, you spoke too soon. There's that eagle perched on a cactus devouring a snake. But this is where we make home. And then they made that their flag. So that's the flag that they have still today.
Wow.
And with the Giihlgiigaa, that's why we made it a crest. And we brought potatoes home from Mexico.
Wow.
And we were the ones that populated the whole Polynesian with potatoes.
Wow.
See, the Polynesians, they're kind of related to us.
Just
hung around for about 4,000 years and then said, oh, our destination awaits us. Time for us to leave. And we never saw them again, So there's, we influenced those Polynesians quite a bit. You'll find it. They do have Haida DNA.
They do have Haida what?
DNA.
Oh, they do. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
I've been learning a lot about our Pacific Ocean connections. And so we're related to the Hawaiians. We're related to a lot of folks in the Great Circle, because we traveled it a lot. All the ocean currents were our like conveyor belts, roads. So you just hook in and away you go. Yeah,
to this little white person over here, I get confused with that, and I think, well, where's the road? But how can you follow a current? I also come from Alberta, so the idea of relating to water is really foreign to me. We didn't have water in Alberta, really. So, thank you, Todd. I look forward to your next story.
Thank you, and I look forward to being on air again. Thanks again for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. I can't wait. Okay. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Do you feel unsafe in your home?
You are not alone.
Transition houses offer free support and shelter for women and children.
We are here for you.
We are here for you.
We are here for you.
Make the call.
1-800-VICTIM-LINK.
1-800-563-0808.
bcsth.ca.
And that's our show. My thanks to Kristin Cheung from the Outsider Arts Festival and Rocky Riobo from Rocky and the Gems, who also gave us permission to play their song, Those Eyes. If you need more information about the Outsider Arts Festival, you can find it at www.voaf.ca. That's V as in Vancouver, O for Outsider, A as in Apple, and F as in Frank, like Frank Sinatra. My thanks to Giihlgiigaa, also known as Todd DeVries, who you can find information about online. He is also available to bring his storytelling to you and your event. If you wish to reach him, drop us a line and we will make sure to get it to him. Today, and as always, Sherry Ulrich sings us in and out of our programming. But as always, our thanks goes out to you for joining us today. Stay safe out there. You've just listened to ReThreading Madness, where we dare to change how we think about mental health. We air live on Vancouver Co-op Radio, CFRO 100.5 FM, every Tuesday at 5 p.m. or online at coopradio.org. If you have questions or feedback about this program, or want to share your story, or have something to say to us, we want to hear from you. You can reach us by email, rethreadingmadness@coopradio.org. This is Bernadine Fox. We'll be back next week. Until then.
When I've never been further, knowing what the hell I'm gonna do. When I can't seem to find my way, under or over or through. Just when I'm ready to give up the fight, there you are when we turn out the lights, and it's alright, it's alright, don't you worry, it'll be alright. Why do I always believe it when you tell me everything's gonna be alright? Yeah. Why don't I wonder how you know? Well, surely you don't have all of the facts. You could be just making it up. Why don't I ever think of that? It's some kind of magic in the words that you breathe, saying, baby, take it from me. It's alright, it's alright, don't you worry, it'll be alright. Why do I always believe it when you tell me everything's gonna be alright? Everything's gonna be alright. With anyone else, it's such a cliche, just words people say to be